Good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Luda Kopkina with GAI Insights. Welcome to Daily AI News, where we rate articles essential, important, or optional. You can find the articles at gaiinsights.com/articles. And please follow along and let us know what you think about our ratings and about the topic as we review them. Okay, let's start with the first article. John,
Alrighty.
please introduce it.
Yes, here we get some really lovely stuff from Anthropic, where they've shared how their folks use AI over the past year and what's changed.
Right. Vivek, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, this is a fascinating read. This is answering the question is what happens when you have high level of adoption, especially looking at an example from a company at the frontier of the Gen AI renaissance. The article kind of offers this, high fluency workplaces. What they did was they surveyed about 130 engineers, conducted 53 in-depth interviews, and looked at code that was generated by folks, about 200,000 different cloud code transcripts. And what they found was really interesting. They found that productivity doubled among all of their users. They found that skills are broadening, that users are using it uh, for tasks that were not previously would have been neglected given their expertise. And then collaboration in general is evolving, right? So what that means is a double-edged sword, where Claude is replacing a lot of the peer interactions, but also reducing the need for like this mentorship and one-on-one team learning that they saw was flipped. So overall, I found this is an absolutely essential article. This gives you a little bit of sneak peek into the future as organizations increase their adoption and fluency of AI. And as I think it was like just if you go down to figure 5, there's a unique one little stat all the way at the bottom of figure 5 that just non-techies, people who are not specifically using AI, they're not as technical. They're using it more for debugging. That makes sense. They don't know the domain as well, but also using AI for data analysis. And there's a very technical function that all the way at the bottom line. So it highlights that it's going to unlock new capabilities for folks, and this is a great article for every AI leader to read, because even though it's in the coding and the technology domain, it has the similar observations. I hypothesize will happen as organizations become more fluent. So absolutely essential.
Okay, essential from Vivek. What did you think, John?
Yeah, I agree. It's I think understanding what the nuances are and how people start to develop intuition around AI. You have very different usage patterns in terms of where it's used in their business. Obviously, we've got these are different coding tasks. Up top here we have debugging and refactoring and so forth. But I think this is really interesting. This implementing new features piece has gone from 14% to almost a little over a third, 37%. That to me says they're getting more and more confident in the AI in terms of its ability to take over certain kinds of tasks. And it was low. I forget the exact numbers, but it was like single digits to low teens. Now it's getting in the 20s in terms of task delegation. So I think we're just seeing the beginning of a progressive structuring of labor activities in Anthropic. And it's I love data, and this is a great trove of real use data. So essential for me.
And even though, John and Vivek, it is in the coding domain, right? So you still would rate it as essential.
Yeah, I think coding is coding to me is the most developed for sure. But then other engineering and scientific disciplines are going to be right behind. So I think we're going to see more and more of this in science and so forth. Law and procedural things as they get codified and we get comfortable with it, I think is going to be, so I mean, these folks live with the tools, so they use them first. But I think that some things that we learn in coding will be relevant across any task.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to add on to that, Luda, I think when we think about, I think John brought up a really important point about intuition, and we've been talking about the need for AI fluency, all the work that Paul's been doing around co-pilot education. it's this flip that happens when you start exploring into areas where you don't have the domain expertise, and then utilizing that. I think this is a early glimpse into that, and I think that piece is very valuable for AI leader.
Yeah, I was also essential because it talked about the development of trust in steps and likened it to Google Maps when they just came out. You first give it the routes that you know or don't know, like this was different approaches for different people, but then you develop trust gradually and you trust the maps to actually look at other paths and give you the best. Paul, what did you think? We're going essential, seems like here.
Oh yeah, definitely essential. And to me, we always talk about coding being the killer app. This is inside the bullseye, inside the bullseye, inside the bullseye. So this is coding inside, an AI that has meetings every day where everyone's earning $1 million plus, learning how to use this, where you have peer pressure to use this. And if you don't use this, and it's still, and Vivek, I think that the whole notion that this is where it's going from the AI leader, this is going to wave over to marketing, to customer support. Anybody who's in front of a screen doing knowledge work, this is the wave that's coming. And to see that even within OpenAI, there's still a learning curve going up here. It just shows we're just so early on this explosion of productivity.
Yeah, and how people are using it. So it's really, and it's very thoughtful article. Okay, essential it is. Let's proceed. John, you're on the next one, and if you can introduce it, please.
All righty. Here we've got from Essential AI. This is the creation of a open model here. This 8 billion model RNJ, which is named after the mathematician Ramanujan. It shows decent performance on code generation, and there's some good illustrations here.
Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I was optional on this. Yet another speeds and feeds conversation about the model, and you can see it compares here on different pre-training benchmarks where it's good, and it's a very small model, very performative, open sourced. Decent on the ability to call tools and so forth, mathematical problem solving, but here the folks at Essential AI are essentially trying to give more and more models out in a better performing model out into the open source community. So optional for me.
Okay, optional from John. Vivek, what do you think?
Yeah, I was between optional, important, leaning more towards important for 3 reasons. One, this is, as John mentioned, this is a very good model for mathematical science reasoning and agentic coding, where if you are an AI leader in a cost-constrained environment, this would be a fantastic model. But in terms of coding, it's a step and a magnitude ahead of models in its own class, right? These small models, and you see the SWE benchmark where it has 20% on the SWE benchmark compared to like 3 or 4% all the other smaller models. And we've been talking about the emerging of these maturity of these small language models. And this can be utilized, this kind of format could be utilized for other domains as well if you fine tune it specifically for your own domain. It's a US-based company, so that's another piece that I really liked about this, that it's be easier for, and they're providing completely open weights as well as that's all the reasons why I was leaning more towards important.
Okay, thank you, Vivek. Paul, what did you think? Optional, important?
Yeah, it's a great product announcement. It's a really wonderful, interesting company here, but it's a product announcement. So show up some customers and we'll talk about you.
Yeah, I was optional as well. Okay, we're going optional. Vivek, okay, can you live with optional?
That's all good. Yes.
Okay, optional it is. Let's proceed to the next one. John, if you can introduce it.
Yes, so we've got here impact of visual generation on AI advertising effectiveness by a combination of academics from Emory and the Emory Gazzaweda Business School, as well as the folks at the New York University Stern Business School. Yeah. And they show significant impact here. I think I've got highlighted no significant improvement for Gen AI modified ads, but for the Gen AI generated ads, it was significant improvement in terms of the yield of the AI.
Right. So the researchers, it's asked 4 questions. One, human expert created ads compared to the Gen AI modified, Gen AI created, and also if it was stated that an ad was created by AI, whether the sentiment was up or down. So very interesting findings that modified ads performed worse. AI modified ads performed worse. AI created ads performed 20% better.
Mhm.
And if you announce that this is AI created ad, people trusted it 31.5% less. Isn't that interesting? So
Yeah.
it's a very important study from, I don't know, John, what was your rating?
Yeah, I gave this an important. I think that this notion that what are the emotions around Gen AI? How effective are Gen AI generated ads? The answer from this study is that if they're completely Gen AI generated, that's the top. Then humans are next, and then the mix is the least, which I think is a pretty interesting finding. The other thing you didn't throw out the statistic. My memory of it, Luda, in terms of if I tell you it's an AI generated ad, my trust and propensity goes down by almost a third, about 31%.
Yeah,
So
31%.
it's a
Yeah.
biggie, and so and you can see here, this is the regression analysis. You can see the negative effect of the coefficient of Gen AI modified ad here. So I thought that's important because OpenAI is on its way to soon have ads in there. Clearly, the video models that we've seen are fantastic at generating video, at new ads. So I gave it an important.
Okay. Important from John. Vivek, what did you think?
Yeah, I was actually between important and essential. I think this is a not emerging, but it's kind of foreshadows again another future piece where there's a fundamental shift in how creative workflows are designed in an organization, especially marketing teams, right? Who have the legacy agency model, like having a human involved. But then now understanding your own customers, understanding and having AI native content being generated that is superior, significantly better in terms of engagement compared to just even human or hybrid content. I think it changes the perspective of a leader who's generating this type of ad-related content.
Okay.
And then the other piece is that as we get to more context of the consumer, these ads are generated based on context to be more personalized. I think this is going to now kind of speed up that transformation. So
important, essential sounds like Paul. What did you think?
Yeah, I'll be on the skeptic side just because I think the challenge with this is it's the river is moving so fast. This is a moment in time. I think if you went and looked at and surveyed the people the year that Bank of America rolled out ATMs, 99% would say those are unsafe. I would never use them. I have to hide my little PIN code. And then 6 months later, if you serve them, it changed a lot. So I think the sentiment on this is changing so quickly, and the ability to have much better prompts to have human can't tell ads generated is that I just think it's really, really early. So I had it as optional, but I'll support wherever the team goes.
Yeah, I was going essential. It's across the board. Yes, it's only marketing, but every company has marketing. And they've, based on data, they really came up with good insights of capturing, Paul, the status right now. Yes, it's shifting like massively, but right now, this is where it is. And this is what the consumers are saying. So I think it's essential to know. And it's a very quick, you can just read the abstract and you're going to get wise.
Well, and I think, Luda, there's bolster your point. It's essential, particularly if you're planning to invest in any kind of AI generated ads
Exactly.
in the first half next year. Yeah.
And you're cutting across the board probably, like, so you need as much as possible promotion of the products and the like, so on the revenue side. So I think it's essential. Essential it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
All right, essential. All right, here we have CBRE and a lovely AWS case study where they're using property management search digital asset assistants here to go across their many, many databases. You know, for those who know anything to do with commercial real estate, is just a trove or a dump truck of unstructured, semi-structured information all over the place, whether it's about the property, the price, the leases, the contracts. So, you know, really, and of course, if you get it wrong, you end up in court or, you know, not getting paid. So it's a big deal.
Okay. Vivek, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I think John gave a nice overview. What the CBRE did is work with Amazon Web Services, unified, and to create a unified search and digital assistant tool that is embedded within their platform. And they looked. They not only can they worked with the Nova models to generate SQL queries, so from semantics and natural language to SQL, and then use the Claude model to do the search within their database of 8 million unstructured and structured documents. They saw the 67% reduction in processing time, and in the normal fashion of AWS case studies, is a fantastically authored study which talks through the system architecture, the impact, and talks about how a large organization that is that is a world leader can actually adopt generative AI on this very common workflow that everyone should be adopting. So I give this an important because it's such a fantastic case study that can be utilized. Yeah.
Important from Vivek. Paul, what did you think?
It's important. It's very. I echo all Vivek's arguments. Important.
Okay, not essential.
Not essential because we've talked a lot about these use cases before, but this is a really, really good one yet again.
Okay, John, going important. Do you think we should elevate it to essential?
Yeah, I'm on the fence. I mean, it's you know, it's pretty well documented. You know, well-known company. You know, impacts are clear. It's a great case study.
And
I'm on the fence. Essential, important, essential.
Okay, important it is. So we have already 2 essentials. It's a good use case. It could have been essential otherwise if we didn't have already 2 essentials. Okay, important it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
Vivek, you would never want John to be your doctor. Back operation, not back operation. Back operation, not back operation.
Right, that would be the best doctor.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, he will give all the arguments to the for and against. I mean, this is great.
I never let my confidence override my expertise.
Okay, then next one, John.
Okay, here we've got measuring agents in production. You know, this is an article put together, you know, for trying to understand what happens and why organizations are, you know, building these agents. What do they look like? What does it do in terms of the impact? Does it increase productivity? Is it risk mitigation and so forth? It's really a survey of, you know, agents in use across a number of different institutions. And, you know, the folks in here are IBM Research, Stanford, UIUC, which I don't recognize as a thing, and then Intesa San Paulo and Berkeley.
Okay, thank you for introducing it. So what did you think about this? Paul, what was your rating on this one?
You know, I'm just showing my frustration with the AI agent definition. I mean, here for AI agent definition, it had to be like multi-steps and reasoning, and they narrowed down. In my simple brain, this is just where software development is and many different things here. So I thought it was an interesting thing here. I think they would debate that a GPT is not an agent because it's not reasoning all the time and not multiple steps in here. So I had it as optional. I don't think an AI leader gets much from this. I don't think it helps their arguments because they need case studies to move their business cases forward, not academic studies.
Interesting. What did you think, Vivek?
Yeah, I was very important. There's a lot of interesting data in here on how organizations are incorporating different models, and there's some things around that. Most of it is still human verified, human verification in most companies. They're not kind of given full autonomy to these agents yet. They're predominantly using direct off-the-shelf models, and not. And these are things that they're insights for an AI leader to reference, and it's a good back pocket article when they're asked questions around why they're doing a certain things. But overall, I think it's an empirical study, and I wasn't just at important, but there's a lot of interesting data. It's fun read.
I was actually absolutely essential. And here's the reason. It's 306 practitioners, 26 industry domains, and it captures how, whatever the definition pool is that they provide, how these 26 industries or domains are using agents in that definition. This is like in my discussions with the senior executives, they always are looking for data to calibrate them, where they stand, how they're using whatever it is, and this provides it. So, and it also captures a number of lessons across 4 very critical questions, like which models, architectures, techniques are used, how the agents are evaluated for deployment. That is an area that is really very critical and not yet quite solved. So it gives them top challenges in building the agents. So it gives you the calibration that I think is very critical. So I was on the essential side. John, what did you think?
Yeah, it was not important. It's I looked at the data and thought that's not a very large sample, and it's pretty much all technical folks. And with Paul was noting the definition. Here's look at where they came from: software, technical executive managers, academic researchers, infrastructure, technical writers. So it's basically looking at a survey of the software shop in terms of how they use agents, if you will, across different organizations. So I don't know. I thought it was nicely done, not very extensible, but decent data, so important.
Okay, so cut in the middle. All right, important it is. Between the optional, essential, and Vivek gave it an important. Important it is. Let's proceed to the next one.
All right, so last we have Shopify is using Anthropic's Claude on Google's Cloud Vertex to supercharge Sidekick, so their ability to help vendors sell more on their platform.
Yeah, I can introduce this one. Okay, so this is a use case from Anthropic about essentially an agent that could interpret for new vendors, for new merchants who are going on the platform. They have a specific language to use, query language, Shopify QL, and it's quite convoluted. So it gives the access to analytics and the like, and it's difficult to use. So this Sidekick does a very good job for interpreting and doing much easier integration for new merchants and for advanced ones to use the analytics. So the outcome is only that they didn't really give the metrics and didn't give how they implemented it. So it was a light study, even though an important topic. So I gave it an optional. What did you think, Vivek?
Yeah, I think the news here is not specifically about the case study. It's more around the transition from the NVIDIA to the GPUs to the TPUs. I think Claude has recently done this deal with Google to move to their servers. And this highlights, they highlight one thing in this article around claims of sub-second response times, and TPUs are more efficient as well as cheaper. So I thought that was more of the context of the story than, and it's still an optional. It doesn't impact much from an AI leader unless you're looking to move to the Google Cloud and on the TPUs.
So we're going optional. John?
Optional.
Paul?
Optional.
Okay, optional it is. So I don't know, John, do you have the capacity to produce the scorecard?
No, I'm sorry, didn't have a chance to do the scorecard, but
That's okay. That's okay. So, Paul, any announcements today?
The two announcements: our learning lab tonight at 7 Eastern. Jenny, our operations and Gen AI trainer, is going to go through part 2 of ChatGPT 201 training. We did a few weeks ago and thought we could get through 201 with a whole group in 1 hour session. We were not able to. So join us tonight for 201. Lots of questions. And Vivek, what you and I were talking about in the pre-show, even though you're using ChatGPT, you're probably just using just 2% of it because there's powerful tools in there. Yeah. And then second, we have our weekly free training for Copilot at noon Eastern. Lots of great feedback on that. And on Thursday, we have at noon for ChatGPT.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. And so for today, even though we don't have a scorecard, we have 2 essential, 2 important, and 2 optionals. So it's an even day. Thank you, Vivek, for joining. Thank you, Ashish, Kevin, and everyone else for commenting. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow.
see you tomorrow.
Thanks all.
Thank you.